Welcome to Show, Don't Tell, a podcast by TelScreen's team of Wes Harris and Kent Harris, sharing their stories of being in the eye care industry in their unique, punny style with facilitator Christy. And we're back.
Did you miss us?
It's been a while. It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. We took a season off so you guys can concentrate on some other things. We've got some systems in place. We're finally ready to start rocking 2024, and it's March.
Okay, we wintered in Florida. Never mind.
No, I'm sure you did not go to Florida. I've seen the calendar. That's not the direction you guys went. But you have been all over the place. It's been really nice and active. And today we're going to talk about something we just finished a little fun activity outside for. So what is our subject today, fellas?
On this issue of Show, Don't Tell, we're going to talk about quality control. When you find something that is not up to your standards, what do you do with it? If possible, rework it, bring it back to your standards. If it's not possible, get it out of here. Never let something substandard come back and infect your workplace, whether it's in the R&D lab or, God forbid, it gets to production and out the door as something that you sell with your name on it. Never let that happen. That's a lesson that my brother and I learned from Dr. Bob Pease. I think if he wasn't a doctor, he should have been. 33 years at National Semiconductor, analog designer extraordinaire, fabulous engineer, but his mantra was, if it's broken, kill it dead and never let it come back.
He never wanted to have a repeat of an experience in which someone raided his desk to find a part, and then it made it out the door, circuit failed, and he looks, and when it came back, he was the guy that reviewed everything. He's like, I've seen this before. What is this? And so that was the origin of the destroy it.
Yeah, the field failure was a part he'd already diagnosed as being defective, but it hadn't been crushed. And someone else picked it up and said, I need one of these, let me go use it. And so it was reintroduced and back to the field it went. So we never want that to happen.
And so what did we do today?
Today it's hammer time.
We do a lot of laser workshops in which doctors have lenses for doing laser procedures on model eyes. They also have gonioscopy lenses for practicing gonioscopy on themselves to refresh that skill before you get to the laser. And every now and then, a glass gonioscopy lens will have an unfortunate and unexpected meeting with a concrete or tile floor. And that's typically not good for the lens. In this case, the flange was cracked, and you can't put that back on a cornea, so it's time to get that one out of circulation.
For those of you not familiar with the lingo, gonioscopy is a procedure where you look at the edges of the eye, where the iris goes into the orbit. What do I call that? The orbit?
Well, I mean, yeah. Iris, ciliary body,
right? So
scleral spur, trabecular meshwork.
So you're examining the edge of the eye to determine what kind of angle is between the iris and its insertion into the side of your eye. And so you need a lens to do that, because if you're looking through the front of the person's eye and looking at their iris straight on, then obviously you need a mirror to be able to see around the edges. And so this is a contact lens that is, you numb your cornea so you don't feel it, and then they place this lens on your eye, and it gives them an interface to allow them to look at all the edges of your eye. Well, the part of the lens, some of these lenses they have no flange. There's nothing except a
very small contact surface.
And then some of them have a flange, which is more kind of the size of a little bit more of the size of your iris.
It's cornea shaped so that you have it kind of suctions onto the eye, gives you a little bit more control, and it most importantly keeps your lens from just kind of skating off the eye.
And if keeps your eyelid out of the way as well, because your lid will be then above this flange, and so if someone it gets a little either droopy eye or floppy eye or something, that you can kind of get their lid out of the way a little easier. And so
anyway, one with a cracked flange. What do you do with a lens like that? You make sure it never goes on another eye again.
Ideally, because you just said it goes on the eye, and if it's cracked.
Yeah, nobody really needs to have glass in their eye.
No, I mean, typically, don't you go to the doctor to get the glass out of your
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So continue.
So, watch the video.
Yes, in the show notes, you'll see that we have a video clip of what we did to
remove this lens from circulation.
Yes, that's it.
And, demonstrates the fabulous hand-eye coordination.
We were going to edit that part out.
Yeah.
But we can leave it in if you want.
So I think I looked at the video and I saw a smashing success.
Oh, God, here we go. You missed it. Okay, so removing something from circulation, getting rid of faulty things. How often does that not happen? Oh, okay. Saw Wes's facial expression. I'm like, okay. But not here, but like just in general. How often does faulty things?
Well, let's put it this way. If the temptation would be, if you're in the field fixing something, and then you discover, and you can't replace it with a new part because you didn't bring one with you or you didn't have one, and now you're trying to jury rig a repair instead of just saying, no, let's do it right. Let me, get the new part in. I'll come back and install it and be done. Duct tape, electrical tape, any of these things are, that are temporary fixes, should not prevent things from being taken care of correctly. And so
there's the old joke is how long or how many tries does it take the Xerox repairman to fix the copier? And the punchline is it depends on how many defective parts he brought with him.
Right, because those are the parts he had in his truck from other jobs that he pulled from somewhere.
Right.
And we can't waste that. This could still be good. It's like, no.
See that, and that's what I was going to ask about. I'm over here pointing at the guys. That is what, because I keep thinking, and I really do hate to bring my family into this, but my family's full of that. It's, I'll fix it later. I can repair it. I can recycle. I can upcycle. I can do whatever. But then the two things happen. One, it never gets used again and it sits there, or they did and it is worse off than it was in the beginning. So does that happen? Have you seen that happen in your business, in not your business, but like in this industry, in the business world?
I don't know how much it happens. I mean, fortunately, medical equipment has pretty strict standards on, certifying. You can't just, it has to be repaired by a factory authorized repair person to still be, under the FDA, meeting your process control. You have to have a process, a quality control process in place. You have to have a process for repairs. You have well-defined processes that get audited.
Well, and FDA specifies that you have to basically have physical barrier between known good inventory for sale and anything that's come back for returns. It's like they can't even be in the same room together. There must be a locked physical barrier between those two things to make it harder for accidents to happen.
Like that. Yeah. So, our industry is certainly more regulated than most, but, you can, in the auto industry, there was all sorts of history there. And I don't know what the current standards are, but I know that things in the past before parts were regulated, and part of that may have been just due to theft and stealing in terms of chopping up cars and selling them for parts, but things that are coming out, what's new, what's a used part, and when you're in a car wreck or something, what are you allowed? Your insurance companies get involved to say no, you can, you can only use certified refurbished parts, or you can't use whatever they'll pay for.
That's going to be my next question. What's the difference? So help somebody like me or somebody brand new to the industry understand the difference between, oh wait, we had a defective part, to somebody who's coming in and buying a refurbished piece?
Right. So defective means when it was manufactured, something happened. It didn't manufacture like it's supposed to be. It did not meet the standard, the manufacturing standard. It was defective. And that should be screened before it ever goes into a product so you don't have a defective part in your product.
Yeah, but some manufacturing defects aren't readily apparent upon first installation. It's over time the defect becomes apparent.
Yeah, I mean, even, in semiconductors, you're talking about, the alignment of stuff on silicon. And yeah, they test it. They do electrical tests. They do all sorts of tests and tests and tests. But sometimes things work during the testing period, but there was some tiny microfracture or something that just didn't get the right stress it needed to break, and then it breaks. And if it, when it breaks, hopefully it breaks soon enough before anyone uses it in the amount of testing. And they used to call that burn-in testing. So they would run something for some amount of time, or they would have some accelerated testing that would say, oh, we're just going to do this continuously and cycle it on the ranges of their inputs.
And we're going to do it at higher temperature or something like that to stress it a little bit and find out, is it going to break?
As part of, to try and weed out defective parts. A refurbished part is something that it was out in the field, someone had bought it, or it had been shipped or had been gone somewhere, and when it came back, it had been opened up, inspected, and verified that the components are, if it came back because it was broken or something broke along the way, then it was sent to a repair shop, and it was a factory authorized repair shop that had the original parts to pull out the part that was broken and replace it. And now it's as good as new, in the sense that you have a new part that fixed the broken part, but you have older parts that are still functioning just fine, and they have a long enough lifetime. They're expected to work.
And the repair shop can test and validate that each piece in your device is still working up to manufacturer's original specs. So refurbished means that when you're done, you can't tell the difference between this part and one that was brand new from the factory in terms of functional performance. Now, obviously, there may be cosmetic issues.
Yeah, you may see a scuff on a case, or you may see, a scratch on a metal or something, but it's cosmetic. It's not interfering with the function.
And this leads into, TelScreen does from time to time have imaging systems that are refurbished and offered for sale. Sometimes one of our customers will retire and either sell the practice but not the equipment, sell the equipment separately, or don't feel like they're getting a fair value for the amount of equipment that they've accumulated, so they decide they would rather sell it piece by piece over time. And we'll often contact original manufacturers to see about becoming a certified refurbished product from that manufacturer. So we just had a doctor who retired last fall and has gotten around to finally deciding that he's ready to sell his cameras back to us, and would we use them and refurbish them and make sure that instead of going into a landfill, they actually go somewhere where they could do some good. So we've got a couple platinum cameras that just came back this morning, and we will be testing them to make sure that they meet all of the original specs. And then B, we will clean them up. We don't want anybody's fingerprints or anything, coming through. We don't want to recycle germs either. So,
right.
Inspect, test, sanitize, and if it passes all the tests, then it can be part of a refurbished system, which would allow somebody to have our platinum level technology for a little bit lower cost.
Nice. Well, what else?
Well, on the finance side, do you have an infinite imaging plan and are constantly annoyed by me sending invoices to you? Well, guess what? We've recently added a new feature called ACH Debit. We can now pull from your bank account on your orders the timing according to the contract terms without ever bothering you again.
As a business owner myself, when I have people who will do that kind of stuff, you don't know how much stress that takes off of me, because you're right. The reach outs are a little bit interruptive. So that's a great thing that you guys are starting to automate some of those systems and all that kind of stuff. And we also have some other new things that are going to be coming out soon, because
we do.
Your whole new logo. I'm so excited. We're updating a few things. We're giving you guys a little bit more of a modern, streamlined look to match all of the equipment that you guys do anyway. So,
did you figure out a way to get more hair for me?
She said modern and streamlined. She's going to shave it.
Could you tell the difference?
No, because if you add the hair, it's less aerodynamic.
Oh, that's it.
So, anyway.
Well, yeah, given that June 2021 was the diamond system and December 2022 was the gold system refresh. So, we've got, in less than 3 years, 2 brand new refreshed product lines, one brand new, one refreshed. And I guess the platinum system is probably due for a refresh soon. But, when everything is new within the last 3 years or so, then I guess the logos and the websites need to be new too.
Yeah. We're starting to get things updated, and that's going to be a nice addition. If you guys, those that are listening, or if you come across this and you're like, I really wish I could find this, please reach out, because we're continuing to add more resources and such to the website from the TelScreen family. So, and about all the family of products and all the things you can do and resources and connecting and all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of ideas. Just give me a minute to get it all done. It'll be great.
59, 58, 57.
And that's how this goes. Well, I very much appreciated our little activity outside today with our safety glasses and the whole 9 yards. So remember, check out that video. You can either follow us on Facebook, Instagram. This will probably, if we cut some out, it might be a short, but we'll definitely end up on YouTube with this at some point too. So you'll be able to find this video, I guarantee you, whenever you're out there. Anything else, Phyllis?
Oh, if you need a lens that's not damaged, we have those too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You do have lenses. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Final chance. All right, fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for coming back and still sticking with us on the podcast of
Show Don't Tell.
And you can find us at
www.telscreen.com.
Well done. Thanks, everybody.